Yo, it's crypto blood, Detroit flow, screaming from the D, knowing what to show. Indicators are on point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro. I'm Rucker, Jerry, it's just blood too. Bad motherfucker in a good way, boo. Got my eyes on the charts, ain't no time to sleep. Kick that money, gotta keep it creep. That's why crypto blood, just the toasters on the line. Stacking my coin, got the market on my mind. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum too. Cash is king, but I'm looking for a new move. I know the culture of the markets like the streets. Got my finger on the pulse, can't nobody beat. I see the trends, I see the flow. Got my strategies in place, you know.
Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash. Since I was born, been stacking my coin. These niggas pop, my money keep growing. Your girl is a dot, she all on my groin. She blowing my horn, we fuck like porn. These rappers is whack, they lyrics is corn. I'm getting this money, it never get born. I'm loading my strap, they calling the law. Fuck around and you clap for running your jaw. If it ain't about the dollars and it don't make sense. Got me sipping brown water, but it ain't from Flint. Trying to chase all this bread, though the shit won't last. About to shut the city down like a crypto crash. Stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, stacking my coin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cash.
Okay. Ready? Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live.
In the famous words of Bill O'Reilly, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing it live. Welcome to another live stream. We got a special guest on today with us. As you see on the screen, we got another Detroiter in the house. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about silver. We're going to talk about gold. We're going to talk about all the non-fiat assets you should be in. This is not a debate. Somebody asked me a couple of days ago, you guys, you debating about silver and gold? No debate here. No debate here, ladies and gentlemen. This is just a discussion and hopefully an informative discussion, maybe help you if you're new to, this space, either crypto or precious metals. Maybe to help you strategize and figure out a game plan to get yourself out of this rat race we call the fiat game. And it is a rat race. We got Hyben in the building. Shout out to Hyben right now, my guy. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. So let's go ahead without further ado. I want to bring up my guy, Rethinking the Dollar, Mike from Rethinking the Dollar. Go follow him on X right now at Rethinking without the G Dollar. Rethinking Dollar. Mike, what's going on, brother? How are you today?
I'm doing good, my friend. I like your music, man. You got me over here bobbing my head, man. You got me hyped this morning, but I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. And as always, it's good to connect. It's been a couple of years, I think, since we've
been a couple of years. Been a couple of years, and long overdue. I don't know what took so long, but definitely thank you for taking the time.
I should have reached out sooner. You know what I'm saying? I remember a couple of last times when we connected with the fellas or whatever. That was a great time, man. And I miss those times as well. But
I forgot about that, bro. I forgot about that. That was an excellent live stream.
Yeah,
excellent live stream.
Days, man.
And maybe toward the tail end, we can talk about I don't know if you heard about what's going on with Bitcoin Ben.
I don't know the most recent. I've watched and followed his journey over the last, post-COVID era, and he, did some big things and was doing big things. I'm assuming, you're referring to the big things or some things happened since, his, club openings and you got, vehicles, cars.
From my understanding, my understanding is that there's some scammery going on.
Okay, educate me.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll leave that for the end, ladies and gentlemen. We'll dangle a carrot in your face. You stick around for that. But we want to talk today about silver and Bitcoin, or silver and crypto more so, right? God's money. Silver is God's money. Isn't that right?
I see how people like to use the reference God's money, but you got to think about this. God is all knowing, all sovereign. He don't necessarily need money. However, he's given us dominion of the earth, and with that dominion comes resources that mankind has the right to, rule over. And we coin money, gold, silver, now shales, and everything else as a medium of exchange. So, I would say it's God's money, but it's more so man's money for dominion on earth now. But I get your point. Speaking of which, I actually got a book. I got a book here called God's Money. Justin Rizori. And so this is my guy Justin. I've interviewed him a couple times, and so he sent me his material. So I get the gist of it, but it's just a good. I think it's a good conversation starter to get people talking about spiritual things in our nature and the natural elements. But yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, man, that's I was listening to I never knew it was called God's money. Silver was, and I thought that was interesting. We got a lot of geopolitical situations going on right now. It's really heating up in Venezuela. It's heating up overseas, even Iran. I'm highly disappointed in Trump, man. I voted for him 3 times. And I'm really upset about the direction we're going as a country, man. Intervening in all of these other countries, kidnapping, not capturing. Wrong C word, or kidnapping is K, but you get what I'm saying phonetically. Wrong word. We didn't capture, we kidnapped.
He went into another country, man, and just snatched up the president and his wife. And of course, there's different narratives surrounding it. I saw one side where they say that, he, for the most part, renegotiated some things for himself for an exit, to where, this whole little charade of a public spectacle of the potential prosecution, stuff like that, might be, just cover for some type of, him escaping with minimum penalty, long as he gave up his country, minus, any official gunfiring. But then the other side is he actually went in with some operatives, and they actually snatched him up out of him. They're going to make a public spectacle of him for the sake of, using him as a front man for the other countries that they will also be going into. So it'll be like, look what we did to him.
Greenland.
Coming for you. So, and that's the thing, years ago, this would have been considered conspiracy talk. Oh, the president, he's not going to go snatch another president up out of there and talk about, capturing or conquering or overcoming or overtaking other nations. But, I mention this all the time. These are things that I consider to be in line with the whole narrative that we've been experiencing for decades now. It's the desire for a new world alliance, new world order type of thing. And how can you impose yourself on other countries without there being some type of global ramifications? And that's why I think the whole Russia situation, such as today, 500% tariffs, man, on oil, what are you doing? So literally he's poking the bear, and the bear is going to bite eventually. Putin has been very patient over the last several years of him being
very patient. Patient.
His country's been screwed over several times, and at some point, man, I don't know what that point will be, but God forbid it turns into some nuclear stuff. But you can't keep doing this type of stuff, man. You can't impose yourself on the world at the same time the world's already made a decision. They don't want U.S. liabilities as much. There's need for alternatives, and so, yeah, I think this desire to control the dollar hegemony moving forward is going to fail, and we're witnessing now with gold and silver, of course. But yeah,
interesting. Yeah, that correlation is definitely there. Now, my question is, my statement about the whole thing is, okay, sure, as civilians, Mike, we of course are not privy to all the information.
Right.
Not even a fraction of all the information that Trump and his team, his cabinet, uses to act upon, right?
Right.
But I'm just thinking, what could be that critical to the security of the United States for that it would prompt you to actually go and kidnap another president? It must be something hella serious, bro.
So, man,
is China and Russia clicking up? Are they really about to do this thing? as far as go against the West,
Right.
that's the only scenario I can see where I would go as far as to kidnap a president of a sovereign nation in our hemisphere. So is Trump trying to lock down our hemisphere? We run it from the rooter to the tutor, from Greenland, Canada, on down to South America. It's Trump's world.
I think that's how, as of now, it's scripted to play out. But I think this whole Venezuela invasion or kidnapping happened at this particular point as like a way to kick off this year and to begin the process for the rebuilding or the reindustrialization of the Venezuelan nation, predominantly centered around oil. Because once again, as soon as you go in, I saw a quote yesterday where he talked about this Friday. I think he's going to be talking to the oil executives on a strategy to help get the nation's oil systems back up and running and stuff like that. And so if he was or is going to be talking to executives, it's good to say that he has some chirping in his ear well before now on steps that probably need to take place in order to get things up and running the way that they wanted to. But one thing people don't know, and I ranted about this earlier, is that China has a heavy investment in that region along with Russia, and they signed a 20-year agreement last year, but well before that, as a matter of securing the Venezuelan people, they have taken all types of bilateral agreements and an actual stake in the Venezuelan resources, to where China literally has teams there helping to rebuild and to extract oil. And I mentioned how they just moved in some barges, which are some high-tech Chinese type of technology, to get the oil out faster and cheaper and everything like that. And so the fact that that's set to kick in this year lets me know that the U.S. wanted to disrupt those plans, go in and just cut that off, because another post Trump made was like, we want the Venezuelan people to just agree to disavow all agreements with Russia and China and work solely with us. And then he comes out and he's going to buy things that's made in America. And I'm like, well, I'm not quite sure
what's made in America. There's nothing made in America.
So, yeah, man.
So it's interesting that it wasn't even 48 hours before Trump invaded and kidnapped Maduro that the Chinese were there.
The Chinese,
right?
So what we were told, that it was the day before, the Chinese ambassador team was there, assuming talking about future negotiations and all the things that they've already agreed upon. And then apparently that night or that day or something like that, he gets snatched up out of there. And so you better believe that they knew that the Chinese and teams were coming down there, and
of course,
and assuming they were probably about to really make some big moves, and they was like, "Let's go now. We can't." First of the year, let's go now.
And right after they left, so that there's no,
they were still there. They were still there. They were still there. Like once again, they're once again, I've covered Venezuela, man, for several years now, because I believe this is all a part of the whole.
You've visited there or lived there while playing basketball, right?
I visited there. I had a tournament there. I was there for about 2 weeks, and phenomenal country, man. Phenomenal country, loved it, and would love to go back. But once again, it's not easy for Americans to hop up there without going through some backdoor routes. But there's a heavy presence of Russian, influence, and Chinese there, because they all have an invested interest, because they protected Venezuela, Maduro, up until this point, to where they have lots of agreements for oil and natural resources. And so, just as another, and I would probably pull some articles up, the things I'll be talking about, but there is reportedly a region at the bottom of Venezuela that's around $2 trillion worth of resources: diamonds, gold, silver, all the natural resources down in the southern hemisphere of Venezuela. That is good to say the U.S., Wall Street, all those individuals want access to that. So it's not just oil. Oil is just what we know about, because they have the largest reserves that we're told. But that the natural resources beyond that, man, it's more than enough to make you go down there and snatch up the president and his wife.
Is it even about oil, though?
That's one of
a lot of people I've seen talk about this strategic strike here being not even about oil. That's the well, no, they were saying it was not about drugs. So the first cover story is fentanyl coming in and all of that. We know that's some nonsense. They didn't even charge Maduro with any fentanyl charges. It was cocaine, machine guns. I don't know. Mike, how do you
that's the president of another country.
how do you charge somebody for illegal guns on your soil and he's in his country? Round of applause.
It'll never make sense. But then again,
Oh,
I think one of the selling points that the American populace has accepted, because once again, mainstream media gives you one narrative, you got to go for a more unbiased viewpoint with the alternative media. But the fact that you have a president, which is our president, that began bombing ships, blue boats, is supposedly carrying drugs. Okay, that could have been the case, but what gives you authority to like literally drop a drone bomb on these boats? And they've already with those bombings there killed a couple dozen. I don't know the exact number, but the fact that we initiated that by killing people because of fentanyl and the drug game and stuff like that was just a cover to then further escalate things to get us down there to where they could snatch up the president and his wife. And so it just shows to me that there was a hit and a purpose for going down there well before now. Then you factor in, let's go back a little bit. Trump's first term, he put a bounty on Maduro for I think about 10 million or something like that. And then when Biden got in office, he upped it, I think, to 25 million. So there's been a bounty on Maduro's head for years now. Nobody's bothered to claim it. A lot of that, I believe, had Russian, Chinese protection behind it. But now Trump was like, skip the bounty. We just going to snatch him up. And we'll see if he actually takes that bounty or not.
Oh my God, bro! This is so crazy, man. Absolutely crazy what's going on here in these streets today. Chikizi says, I agree with the notion that China, U.S., Russia are all in it together, just playing the masses. Very likely. How do you feel about that?
I do agree. I wouldn't disagree with that one bit, because outside of the narratives we're being fed and the events that unfold, everything we do is we're responding to these events. And so, to me, every nation is working in cahoots to achieve the longer term agenda. What do I mean by that? The World Economic Forum, the Great Reset Agenda, which is the public-private partnership. All those nations are working and configuring their economies and their governments just alike. Digital IDs, CBDCs, surveillance everywhere, all that stuff. That's so every nation, if every nation is doing that, then clearly they've agreed on something. And then you have the UN Agenda 2030, where you have basically the overruling of national law via constitution, to where they're trying to make sure that they lay the framework for a borderless world. Hence the idea of the migration crisis that we experienced here, where the world flooded into our country during the previous administration. And so one of the things that lets me know that it was intentional was the fact that the goal for Biden's administration was just to muck things up so bad to where it'll piss the American people off, making it easier for Trump to come back in and just divvy out crumbs by doing what would just be the right thing to do. Like, you just remove the illegal people from being here. You remove the nonsense of, transgender men and boys and girls sports and bathroom, all that stupid stuff that nobody in their right mind would willingly support those things unless you're trying to muck things up. And so now Trump has done 2 or 3 things on his checklist. But once again, the things that he's done behind the scenes, to me, is far worse than what rewards he's done in unwinding Biden's foolishness. So once again, by merging all these countries together, which is what he's trying to do, to me, it plays into the idea of moving borders, uniting regions, so that we can have different parts of the globe all operating under a more singular government structure, i.e. UN Agenda 2030. And so, if all that stuff,
I don't agree with that one, that narrative that people push, because, bro, like, we're giving them too much credit. Like,
why are we?
Because, like,
who writes the rules?
But the world is it's a complex system, and it's just no way You can't even get 2 EU countries to agree on something. How the hell are you going to have the whole, like this one team that's just controlling everything? I just don't see that being a realistic. As human nature, we're territorialists. We faction. We break off into groups. We're very low vibrational entities, in my opinion. We got a lot of growth to do here on this planet. And maybe that's why the space guys are on the way. But I just don't see us, Mike, coming together, bro, on some just like we're gonna just control the world.
Like, look at how easy it was to come together for the cure 5 years ago. Every nation agreed that there was a need for a cure. And therefore, as a result of that, the emergency measures that every nation signed off on, a good example would be the World Health Organization Pandemic Treaty. And so, like, looking into that, that is the idea of every nation turning over their sovereign governance to a single body for the next time that there is a global event. And so that, to me, shows organization, it shows intent, and it shows a plan. And as I be ranting, I'll be like, 2020 was just the test run for what I believe is coming. And if every nation got an agreement on the procedures, 6 feet away, wear your mask, two shots initially, which turned into a car with 4 slots on it, and all those things, like, that wasn't. So
I can't believe people are still getting it.
Accidental, huh?
I can't believe they're still pushing the thing. They are, like, they literally are telling people still get it.
It's normal. And then along with that is that this administration now, under our health guy, which, what's his name? Who's the health guy who ran Kennedy? He allowed the mRNA technology to become a now normalized process, which prior to that, it was all experimental, and it doesn't have any long-term, cases that have proven to actually accomplish what it set out to do, but yet it is now, and it's a mandatory thing now in all vaccine trials moving forward. So once again, all it takes is one event to turn the wheel, to get all these plans working in the way that they prearranged them to happen. And so here we are now, post-COVID, and then now all these things are normal. And so the question is, what's next? That's why
Chiqueezy agrees with you.
It's always on the forefront.
Yeah, he says it's the elite blood. The elite in all nations work together against the plebes everywhere. Yes, COVID was an example. So I do believe that the elite are power hungry. They want to stay in power. That's why you have the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the Chuck Schumers. They're like 190, and they're still clinging on to the power. Like, what is it about the power, Mike? Because it's past the money. The money, they have the money. What the power must be the allure that they just need until they leave.
Yeah, and I believe that once again, the people that we are able to name here, they're puppets. They're just the front men and women for forces that are behind them. And of course, we can throw out all types of names of families, generational names that are very influential in every walk of life. But it boils down to special interests at the end of the day. And so, like right now, I'm following somewhat heavily the bickering out of the Republican camp, because you have a current administration that is, for the most part, 180 everything that he told his camp that he was going to do.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that's pissed, man. I'm pissed.
Right. I'm like, what happened? And the part that saddens me is the fact that people actually thought and believed in the, I got another book here, in the propaganda. Like, these people, they're in power for a reason. Nobody accidentally becomes president. Presidents aren't elected, they're selected.
Wait, but 16 though, Mike, 16 was an accident.
Okay, but listen, let me share something with you. So let me share my screen.
Okay, go ahead, share your screen.
And I'll just highlight something that I think is an indication, just zooming out. And so I'll put it up here. Let me know if you can see it.
Yep, we got it here now. Let's get it in the screen. There we go.
And so this is a graph, of the dollar. And it's,
Yes.
it's, a little bit old here, but if you were to remove me and you'll see that regardless of who was in office, if this is what matters most, which is our pockets, which is what runs our economy, which is what allows us to enjoy global dominance. Look at where we're at now. So if he ran upon things that were true, how would that apply to this? Because as of now, every previous administration since 1913 has done things detrimental to our financial stability. So even
this would be my rebuttal to that, Mike.
Go ahead.
That chart you're showing is a true chart. Is definitely a true depiction of what's going on with our dollar, right? But I look at that as a symptom, not the disease.
100%.
As a symptom of 1913. What happened? We created Federal Reserve, fractional reserve system began to get into play, and in order to keep that monetary system going, you have to debase the dollar. So it didn't matter. Like, I knew when Trump was coming in, like when he won, I didn't think that he was going to be able to keep the economy together. I thought the machine is moving in the direction of destruction regardless of who's in office. So I was more so like on some of the domestic policies, like closing the border. Check. He did that. Great. Came in strong with that, and I'm like, here we go. We about to have the best president ever, right? And then as time went by, things just started to fall apart, and I don't know if it's him running to resistance. I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, bro, because he came in swinging hard.
Everything he came out saying was just words, because at the end of the day, you judge a man by what he actually does.
Okay.
And does. And so literally a part of what makes him so unique is the fact that he can say what he wants because he's a boss.
Correct.
But then again, every boss answers to
as
somebody.
A boss. Mm-hmm.
And so you got to ask yourself, I ask myself a question, who's his most... Okay.
It's a small hats, man. I just go ahead and say it, man. It's a small hats.
No, but see, once again, I can, that's the visual and natural observation that we would have, but it goes deeper than that. Because if you talk about
small heads, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the Zionists, not all Jewish people. I'm talking about the Jews that are Zionists that think that they just have to control everything. They're just God's creation. Everybody's supposed to live up under them. That's what I'm talking about.
And even with that, there's divisions within that whole narrative there, because there's the Zionists and then there's the actual Orthodox Jews. And so
correct.
I follow people online, and there's a lot of confrontation amongst those, because
I bet. See, Mike, we live in Detroit. We have a lot of the Orthodox Jews in where? Oak Park. Oak Park. Love those people. They stay to themselves. They have a community. Boom. They raise their family. I don't see them, but yeah, you're right. It's a faction, and that's what I mean by I just can't see unless there are the less people there are, the easier it is to control a narrative. Mm-hmm. So if you tell me, CB, it's like a group of 10 that run the whole world. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can believe that. Mm-hmm. But I just can't, man. I don't know, man. It has to be some esoteric, like above this dimension type of stuff going on for that to happen, in my opinion. For 10 people to rule, how many people do we have on this planet? 7 billion, 8 billion?
8 billion, right.
Yeah, I don't.
So I agree with you. Things go well beyond our natural eyes. So, we operate within human nature, within the flesh. We got 5 senses. We have a 6th sense that we rarely tap into, and that's the spiritual side of things. And if you look into things in the spiritual side of things, everything makes sense to me. And so those that are labeled as low-key Zionists, they're not actually, or they don't necessarily have to be Orthodox Jews or even Jews in general. They could be pretenders, i.e., in the book of Revelation, it tells us that you'll have Jews that are pretending to be Jews. You have Jews that are pretending to be, but they're really the synagogue of Satan, referring to the fact that
Netanyahu.
Right, Netanyahu and all those.
His last name is not even Netanyahu. He switched it to
his
that.
father's from Poland, like they're from Poland or something like that. Like, so they're not even from Israel. But did you see this? His family are the ones that worked with the UK government to basically buy back the Israel territory from the government, and then to recolonize and resettle the land, which is what took place in 1948, which is why Israel became a state again. So the origins of that state 2,000 years after they lost that territory was done by the Rothschild family. So, of course, God can use anybody however he wants to, but it's just, why would you want to go through all that trouble to recreate a state unless you were going to have heavy influence over it to this day? And clearly, to me, that is more of an indication as who's calling more shots than anything else. And if you really, really want to go deep with it, one of the things that our current administration is very pressed on is the Abraham Accords. So I'm not sure how well you follow that, but that itself is an indicator of who's really calling the shots, because Donald Trump, he's not a spiritual man. I'm sure you saw that quote of him saying that he probably won't even make it into heaven. Like, he doesn't believe in anything other than, I assume, the here and now, or he does, who knows. But
yeah, I think that, do you believe that the assassination attempt was real? And my
viewpoint is, prior to that grazing of his ear, he got beyond his britches, as my grandma would say. He got a little bit ahead of himself with his rhetoric and his narratives, and I think that was a reminder, because it could have been saved by the grace of God, or it could have been literally a specialist that can actually get you, can razor cut you with no problem from a football field away type of skills that could wake a man up and say, hey, just remember, we got eyes on you.
I think he did get spiritual for a second there after that. I think that was some God intervened type of situations going on there. I do. I think he was saved by some divine intervention. And I think he went spiritual for a whole 2 minutes. and then he went back to being Donnie.
He can't help himself. He got 80 years of just being a boss, man. All you know is boss.
He got 80 years of being a boss, having billions, losing it, getting it back. So he's a real boss, because you're not a boss until you take a loss. If you ain't never take a loss and bounce back, you're not a boss, ladies and gentlemen. I'm dropping the gem for you today. So he's lost money, and he's gotten it back. He's God. He's God.
Man,
in his mind, in his own mind.
In his mind, right. And if you look at, and of course, like diving deep and down into it, man, if you look at his obsession and just, I guess, passion for the nation state of Israel now, amongst every politician, like, if you don't go to Israel, kiss the wall, then that's a sign that you're not, in allegiance with, the special interest groups, put like that. So the fact that he's very obsessed on peace, he said his New Year's resolution was peace on earth. Then 24 hours later, he went to Venezuela.
Yeah, and that's the contradicting parts, bro. That's got us ex-MAGA people very upset.
The X. The peace side, the peace on earth, that was a quote given when somebody asked him what his resolutions was. But if you look at peace on earth, I look at it, peace on earth, the bigger picture. This falls into the Abraham Accords. And so the fact that Israel started this using Donald Trump, like they do for every other thing that they benefit from, in his first term. And he introduced it 2019 or whatever, 2018 or whatever. And that was just the door opener. And it's the idea of world peace. And the world peace that he's working on is trying to bring together 3 incompatible belief systems. And it's not, it can't happen. It can't happen. So first of all, it can't happen. I know that. Anybody with basic biblical knowledge will know that can't happen, but he's hard pressed on it. So this peace on earth that I think he's talking about is the establishment of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism under one window, under one tent, for a period of time where we have the illusion of peace. And peace don't mean there will be conflicts here and there, but peace as far as nations not hating Israel and wanting to destroy Israel, as far as the Islam Muslim countries surrounding it directly. And Saudi Arabia is the key. And so literally, I'm not the prince or Muhammad, King Muhammad, whoever he was here. Was it the beginning of December or something like that? And
MBS. You talking about MBS?
yeah, correct. He was here talking negotiations, and Trump made a point of emphasis to bring up the Abraham Accords. And the MBS mentioned that we would do it, we would consider it, but it's all predicated on Gaza. We want them to be considered their own nation state, and then we can talk further. And so now the ball's back in Netanyahu's court. Okay, so Trump is solely talking on behalf of Israel with this, and that's why we have given ourselves the position of protector of Israel. And then once again, that's a whole biblical concept too that they love to throw out at us. But this whole Abraham Accords puts us in a very tight spot because they're going to continue to press that, and that's the spiritual side of things. And also, the part where it makes it very problematic is that Islam, especially here in Dearborn Heights,
correct,
they are becoming
largest what Mike is referring to. Of course, some of you probably know this, largest community of Muslims in the country.
Correct, along with Hamtramck as well. And so you have more outgoing and enthusiastic believers of their faith taking bold actions now, becoming more outright, and literally they have been given clearance to expand and to buy up things and really take a stand.
I'm gonna be honest with I'm not religious much anymore, but I respect anyone's personal journey, how they get to God. Like I believe in a maker and all of that for sure, but I have to give the Muslims the Muslims credit, bro. Down in Dearborn, the ship is run tight down there, bro. Like they circulate their dollars within their community. Everything is clean. It's in order, bro. Like, and I see these clips on like Instagram and stuff, and people will come here to Detroit or whatever, and they'll say Muslims are taking over America. No, they're not taking over America. They're just taking over the areas that they live in, the neighborhoods that they live, and they're doing a pretty damn good job, if you ask me. I don't know.
Right. So there's pros and cons to that. Pros in the fact that they do a good job of everything you say. They stick to themselves, whatever. But once again, this is not like a knock against Islam, but based upon going back to its origin, its founding, it presents itself as a peaceful religion, and then the intent of it is to spread. And once you gain enough territory, then things tend to change, and it's not based on love. And so
I've heard that, and they have the right to lie, steal, and kill in the name of expanding the empire,
expanding their faith. And so what would make a person not?
But that's what Christians did, though, Mike. The conquistadors. They went and they killed more people than anybody.
Religion as itself is probably the number one killer of humanity in itself.
Ironically enough, right.
You have people that's overly zealous for their cause, and they use it in the name of fill in the blank.
Whatever, right.
But when you get down to the brass tacks of it, you got to look at the text and the overall, I guess, like just the vibe of that particular belief. What does it stand on, and what type of fruit does it bear? Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, they all bear different types of fruit.
They sure do.
Out of all three of them, which that's why it makes it incompatible that these three religions can coexist at the same time, because they all believe on different core foundations, and the ending of how everything ends for these three religions are different, man.
Totally different.
How we gonna coexist together? We can't believe on it. We can't agree on the beginning or the end. So it's gonna be confusion. So
it's not gonna work, bro. No, I agree with you totally.
And watch this. For those who are watching, go online, type in Texas and mosque. There's maps popping up everywhere of there just being an influx of mosque being built and or former churches turned into mosques, and it's spreading. So if we have a country that continues to spread the way that it is, as far as a counter faith, because we were built on Judeo-Christian values, whatever, the Constitution being centered around God of the Bible, stuff like that. Now you have a opposing viewpoint coming in. They're not going to abide by our constitutional ways of life, and
Correct.
then you factor in more cities and more states now wanting the Sharia law practices, which is the essence of
Bro,
what you were
we
describing
we
earlier.
we can stream. I don't know how much time, bro. We can stream for hours because you just bring up. We haven't talked about silver and Bitcoin yet. We're gonna get there. We're
Okay.
gonna like Trump say. I'm weaving right now. We're weaving. We're weaving through to get to Bitcoin and silver.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
Minnesota, bro. Like that's insane. The Muslims have completely taken over like 3 cities out there.
And another thing, I'm familiar with it. I'm more so focusing on Brooklyn right now in New York, having the new mayor coming in.
Oh, you don't know about what's going on in Minnesota, then.
So
I'm gonna send you a video after we get off for you to watch. Young guy, white dude. I don't know where he's from. Nick Shirley blew up, exposed the whole Somalian. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you, and we'll have to reconnect on that one. But yeah, so yes, I agree. The New York thing, really quick before you continue. I was a little upset. Again, I'm not necessarily identifying as a Christian. I don't identify as anything anymore. However, I was upset, Mike, that the new mayor of New York was sworn in on a Quran. What is that about? How's that? How can we do this?
A nation.
Did he use the Bible at all, or was it just the Quran?
To my knowledge, it's just the Quran because that's his faith. So like,
I understand that, but bro, if a nation doesn't have boundaries and rules, then if you don't stand for nothing, you fall for anything.
100%.
We have a law. We don't have anything goes.
Gone.
You couldn't do that shit over in first of all, you couldn't do it in Israel. You couldn't be sworn in on the Bible.
Nope.
It would have to be the Torah.
You can't do.
You couldn't be sworn in on the Bible in a Muslim country in Iran, or I wouldn't use Iran. Let's use something like I don't know, one of the UAE. Any UAE country over there.
It's illegal.
You couldn't be sworn in on a Bible just because that's your faith. No, bro, you're in our country. You run by our rules. You play by our rules. This is that simple.
Like here, so here's another key distinguisher of the 3 different religions. In the Middle East, you're not allowed to proselytize anything other than Islam, meaning that if you come over here with a Torah or with the Bible, it's against the law. Depending on what country you're in, you'll get killed.
Correct.
In Israel, you can't say the name of Jesus. You can't proselytize in Christianity. It's illegal. You definitely can't do Islam, or you'll be punished. It's illegal. In the U.S., you can do whatever you want because of freedom of speech. Thank God. But then again, there's restrictions now. They're cracking in on that speech, just like there was a video of one of the representative of our Congress people saying, "Oh no, he's an Israeli billionaire influencer who's very big in our tech world," said that because of anti-Semitism, it's time to crack down on free speech. The Constitution shouldn't allow the ability of people to talk against in hate crime and hate manner type of ways.
Was it Bill Ackman?
I think it was. So once again, but then again, with Christianity, we're open. We're open. I'm very open to hear your side, and I can agree with your share with your faith. But at the end of the day, it's about how I treat you. I'm not going to cause harm or danger to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to love you. If you do me wrong, I'm going to love you anyway. That's different, man. The other ones don't work that way. So it's like, come on now, it's just so much love over here, man.
Mike says love on the Christian side, ladies and gentlemen. Come on over there. Well, let's weave in this silver and gold situation. I'm going to bring up really quickly. I use this site, and I think I have to bring up. We're still sharing your screen, so let me bring up my screen really quickly and share this site. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. let's share. I want to share this tab over here on silverandgold.ai. I don't know what site you use, but we've got the Shanghai silver price and the Western silver price. I think the Western, yeah, we're down a little bit today, down to $75 per troy ounce. If I come over here to CNBC, we can see $275, almost $76. Still holding strong for silver, bro. I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed with the silver resilience. Seeing that, Mike, they have they've come in about 4 times now and slammed down silver by basically increasing the margin requirements on the COMEX. So I'm very, very impressed with the silver's resilience. Tell us, where do you think we go from here with silver? Is silver a better play than holding gold? I just bought a whole bunch of more rounds of silver last week. Let us know your take on things.
Great, man. I like this. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about just the decoupling of the spot to actual physical acquisition of the metal itself. And so whatever we show on the screen, that's entertainment. Because whenever you go down to wherever you shop from, or whenever you, if you can find it online.
Well, I got mine from SD Bullion. Where do you suggest?
So So at this moment, whoever and wherever, just make sure they're a credible business, because the fakes are about to go bananas, because people will catch on. We're just in the first inning, I think, of retail FOMO, and so there's a much greater market for fakes than there is for real. And it's the people who are not aware, awake, or paying attention to programs like yours and mine that will fall for this, because they're going to look at the spot price on a screen and think, man, it's a sale. It's $75 or $76. And if somebody is willing to give you an ounce in your hand for $75, you should automatically question if it's real, because everybody knows silver comes with a premium, because the premium is what is needed in order to actually execute a trade and or run a business. So my point is, whatever the price is on the screen, I don't pay attention no more. I laugh at it. I tell people don't pay attention to it. It's whatever you have to pay when you go to check out on screen. That's the price. And SD Bullion, look at
$87.
Right. And that's dependent on their inventory, because SD Bullion, I've been talking about them a lot lately. They are having inventory issues, and so they're prolonging their shipping dates. And so for the SD Mint,
because mine won't ship until the
February.
12th.
Oh, the 12th? Okay. There's some going for February. So depending on what you want, you'll have to wait. And here's the thing. This is just what they have. This is the contract or the agreement they have with you right now. So if you're expecting a future delivery date, it is in their best interest to cancel it. And so I talked last night about somebody I follow. They posted a screenshot from a reputable dealer. They looked at purchase 10 ounces at $79. Was $790 at checkout. That was a couple weeks ago. And so literally they canceled it because inventory. Because now if you got to go back in and rebuy. Yeah, you refresh that screen now, it's $870. So they would have lost $100. So it's in their best interest to do things on a short-term basis or limit the amount of weight you can purchase. So so my point is, you got the spot and the physical. The physical is whatever you pay when you check out. The spot is just entertainment now, because depending on where you're looking at, like I was going to tell you to go at the top of SD Bullion's website and look at their spot price. It is not the official spot price that the Crimex has given us. So we got 76, 87 there, and you just showed us it was 75. So that's a $1.20 difference. So they're carrying an extra premium on their spot.
On their spot, and that's not including the
real premium.
The right.
Correct.
Right.
So every exchange now is being forced to make their own price above the fake spot price, because it's threatening their business model. And this is the problem. This is a problem people don't really know about, that I see coming, is that at some point in the future, depending on this Middle East conflict, I think this Middle East conflict is coming, is designed to try to take attention off this. But at the current rate and trajectory of these prices, come spring, there could be a lot of online dealers that's forced to lay off, close down, or shrink their so-called inventory list down to the bare minimum, whether it be actual government issued coins that they'll be able to get a little bit easier, perhaps, because generic rounds are too cheap, and most people are not going to really be able to are not going to want to sell them back, because once again, what are you selling them back into fiat for when this is the problem? So, like literally, like these things here, these are insurance against this and government confusion. So it's about to get very interesting. And if I can add,
Of course.
yesterday, or not yesterday, 2 days ago, I came across, searching the internet. There's a bullion dealer online, Atkinsons.com, out of the UK, that began offering above spot for select coins. So one of the issues that people are experiencing is those that have been, saving for a long time, they went to go try to, redeem some of those gold, silver ounces, and they were paying less than $10 a spot. And so that you go to sell it back to them, say it's $75 a day, they'll give you $65. So in the long run, if you was holding from $10 or whatever, you're up. But relative to the spot price, as a business model, they had to protect themselves because of those slam downs you were talking about.
Of course.
But the slam downs are minimum now. They're $1 for 10 minutes at best, and then they back up $3 or $4. But last couple years, it'd be $1 or $2, and it'd stay that way. It'd be another $1, $2, another $1, $2, another $2, to where as a business model, it's cool to deal with spot. Now you got to charge under because you got to protect yourself. Because if somebody come in, you give them 75 for the ounce, then tomorrow it's 70. You lost spot out of the business. You can't do that. So this Atkinsons, what they're doing is they're offering above spot. I think it's 5% or something like that on government issued. So what that tells me is that government issued coins, they are constitutional legal tender anyway, and they are.
Well, we just, and I didn't realize this. I talked about this a couple live streams ago. Basel III it was in last year.
Mm-hmm.
They just recategorized gold to a tier 1.
I think it's tier 1, yeah. And I want to say
that kind of went under the radar, at least in my world.
Yeah, I want to say the reallocation of gold as collateral back onto the bank's balance sheets. I think I recall initially hearing about the rumors, or it moved up from tier 3 to tier 2 or something like that, and then to tier 1. So
now it's tier 1.
So
that happened 2025. I want to say April or something like that last year.
And so now that is the current status of gold as an actual reserve asset that a bank can hold on their balance sheet. And so that hasn't always been the case. So when I remember, I think I was talking to Andy Scheckman and Miles Franklin, and I interviewed him, and we were talking about that. And it was either not even listed, or it went to category 3 then 2. So I think it's back in 2019 to 2020. So they've been incrementally, I think, getting to the point where if you say it's 2025 tier 1, they've been working for this for quite some time now.
Yeah, July 1st, 2025. Gold is officially included as a tier 1 HQLA, high quality liquid asset, on the balance sheets. So that's and it's under the, listen to this, it's under the title Basel III Endgame. They're just putting it in our faces, Mike.
That I did not know. Okay.
Basel III Endgame. That's crazy, bro.
Man, you just gave me something to rant about. I got to go educate myself on this. Man, Basel III Endgame. That's something that a lot of people don't know, I'm sure. Basel III Endgame.
No. They're throwing it in our faces. So what I say, I bring that up to say, man, the countdown really started July 1st, bro, when they allowed gold to be used as basically cash. I mean, it's not M1, but it's like almost M2-ish, M2-ish, right?
But that's for the banks, though. So that's the banks to protect themselves. They got to have that on their balance sheet as capital in case they have to resolve, and we go through a banking event. So the real issue here is the banks being prepared for having tangible wealth in the midst of some type of in-game restructuring.
Yep.
And so so if gold is tier 1 now, it's good to say its little brother, its cousin, silver is right along there.
Come on, I'm looking it up now, Mike. I'm looking it up now. So Basel III physical silver bars treated as high quality, zero risk, tier 1 asset similar to cash government bonds, making it highly attractive. So it's tier 1 as well. When did this happen?
So watch this. The reported largest holder of physical silver as far as a globally systemically important bank is JP Morgan. And so they have, I did a little rant, and they took down the article since I use it as my source.
No way.
Yeah, so it was on the Economic Times, and it said, and I can read the headline to you, but you won't find the article. But it said JP Morgan now is reported to have 400 million ounces of physical silver in the vaults, and they've changed their position from going short to going long, and they're the longest holder of the long futures contracts. And so they unwound all their shorts throughout the years, and there's still a small amount of G-SIBs that are short. They're not naming them. But then again, there's rumors floating around that was it Bank of America and I think Citigroup, if I'm not mistaken, which were floated out as being those banks. I don't know, but no matter what, the bullion banks happen to be globally systemic important banks anyway. And so those banks that are still short, they got to unwind some of those in a relatively not so burdensome fashion. And so these slam downs, literally, that we're witnessing of $1 or $2 here, that saved them billions. Yep. And so literally, by them trying to unwind those shorts, once they're done and they really decide to go long, which has a lot to do with these margins that they're trying to now impose by hiking them, once they all are in this mix together of going long, they're gonna let the roof rip off of the silver price, because they have nothing holding them back now, because these banks now are sitting heavy. And I actually came across something today that I've yet to talk about, but it's an account out there called Silver Trader. He does a good job of following all the silver news, so I get a lot of my resources from him. And he posted something about JP Morgan literally is proactively not settling for cash payments on these futures. They're wanting physical. And of course, by them being the biggest players, they get first dibs on all real silver in vaults. So they apparently, according to him, withdrew 8 million ounces. So they're intentionally draining more. So why are they scrambling to continue to get all this physical unless they know something? So we're going to find out what that is.
I heard, I think I got a shout out, Voice Crypto, one of my YouTube premium members. He put in our chat room, I believe Lynette Zhang said $2,000 silver. And I told him I can see 1,000 and some change. I really can't see that much for an ounce of silver, bro. Because here's the reason why, and this is my gut feeling. I'm pretty good at forecasting or kind of not predicting, but kind of like forecasting trends, right? And I'm getting the same kind of gut feeling that I got about Bitcoin early days with silver, because silver is about to be used for the next generation of all the EV batteries are using silver, not lithium and these other exotic precious metals. So you got the manufacturing supply shock that's going to happen. You've got banks wanting it. You've got, I'll add your screen here in a second. You've got and you've got like geopolitical. It's countries are wanting it. Countries are the biggest buyer right now of PMs. So those three elements to me is a perfect storm, unlike gold, where gold is not really used too much in like manufacturing of electronics. They use a little gold, but that silver, bro, is really where a lot of these companies are using.
Right. Now, so I think this plays into the whole Basel III situation. If gold is now tier 1 for the banks, they're using it heavily. They're going to keep their vaults full. Then you got the repatriation of gold throughout the last 5 or 6, 7 years out of the New York vaults and out of all the Federal Reserve vaults here. So gold is going to be used to recapitalize banks after this monetary restructuring that I'd like to talk about. And then silver is called the people's money. It always has been the people's money because it was the general form of quote unquote cash prior to the capturing of our system. So it was in our coins. And so it is returning to that. Now, in reference to price, I think SJW was other short silver. HSBC, man, like, you know, so that's primarily an Asian bank there.
Correct.
If they were shorting, it's good to say that, you know, they have first dibs towards the Shanghai Futures Exchange, given that that's the same region they're in. So I think they'll be good. They won't be one of the banks that will end up being, not necessarily bank collapsing, but I believe this next upcoming banking event is going to further consolidate power. So you're going to have another, you know, Lehman Brothers type of moment where all the institutions, the big players, are going to be sacrificed, and the bigger banks will get bigger. They're going to buy up, you know, other smaller banks for, you know, pennies on a dollar, capture all their deposit, So we're witnessing a consolidation of power, like always. But anyway, what I want to show here is you referenced the Lynette Zhang's future price. Yeah. And I like to say that in a world of unlimited fiat, there's no way of actually discovering true price discovery when currencies have no floor. Therefore, gold, silver, and even Bitcoin technically have no ceiling. So it can go to numbers that we can't even imagine. It'll go so high that we will disregard the actual number, meaning we have Venezuela type zeros. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To where you won't even quote whatever you hold in that currency, whether it's pesos, yens, euros, because if nobody accepts that paper or that digit, then are you really going to make that trade? But here's what I want to show. So on the screen, we got the gold to silver ratio. And this is what I pay attention to because literally, let me show you how massive this can be. So just looking at how steep of a drop that is from the top here. I'm not even a TA guy, but just, you know, just look too handsome to not talk about. But on April 21st of 2025, 105 silver ounces for 1 ounce of gold. Literally, we're at half now. We're down roughly half to 58. And we see the type of price action we saw in silver, which is peanuts compared to what it could be when you're measuring it up against gold. And so whatever gold does, you then have to start considering silver's price in relation to its ratio. It comes out the ground 10-1, 7-1, depending on what mining person you want to talk to. But on a very bullish of it all unrealistic hyper extremes, people say that because silver is needed the way that you described, it could go to 1-to-1 because it's needed that much. So,
listen. It's so crazy, bro, because I told Voice Crypto, I said I didn't say nothing on air, but yes, it could. I'm with you right there with that one, Mike. I can see it going parity with gold, man. Like seriously.
So think about that. If it goes parity with gold, then we've never been there before in human history. And then you factor in what we're up against: debt, debasement, and unfortunately, destruction. And so if governments know something's coming, they're going to do everything they can to divert and distract and keep people from getting physical. That's why I believe that there's a mad push by this administration literally to take people towards what I call the MAGA wealth effect. And so on the screen here, this is the MAGA wealth effect, blood. I'm telling you. This is what this is it.
This is hilarious.
So, this is what I'm expecting. This administration is basing his entire legacy off of making America great again. And in order to do that, you even admitted earlier, we know you can't pay off the debt. We can't sustain the system. So you got to divert people's attention by distracting them on what I believe was already considered the status quo. We were heading digital anyway. What better way to entice people other than to create digital asset clarity, crypto clarity, by coming up with the Genius Act, the Clarity, and all these acts.
Yeah.
Once the Wall Street, once the big banks, once the VCs have already positioned themselves and built on top of Bitcoin and captured the market the way they already have, and then they can let it rip. And who's going to get paid first? The people closest to this administration. And the World Liberty Financial, When a president got his own crypto coin institution, his kids are now billionaires because of their holdings. Where do you think this is going to go? So this is why I believe there's room for gold and silver to reach all-time highs because our currency is going through the floor.
Right.
And that's just for starters. Now I can go deeper and give you some tinfoil hat stuff, but I don't know if you want that.
Oh yeah, we wear tinfoils over here, ladies and gentlemen. We wear tinfoil hats, tinfoil tiger hats. I gotta get where my tinfoil tiger hat at? But yeah, man, that's I got a good comment that I want your take on because I actually believe this. David Brimbelow, my guy, he said 100% manipulated, and so is gold. Silver is undervalued, and gold is overvalued. Ooh, what do you think about that? Is there a fleecing? Because I heard someone say that the East are accumulating silver, and kind of we're accumulating gold. So it's going to be a gold battle, a gold versus silver battle between the East and the West.
I don't think it's meant. I don't think this entire setup is designed to be a battle between gold and silver, because Asia, Russia, China, the BRICS, the Global South, they've already determined that is true wealth preservation tools and a great diversifier out of U.S. liabilities. So they've been allocating towards gold. I got some charts where I go back looking at China's incremental and then a surge of their gold accumulation since 2000. Russia jumped on officially after the great financial crisis when the U.S. started QE1. That's when Russia began upping their ante. So you look at the stated claims of what they hold is well under what it really is. We don't know what they're really holding. We know what the World Gold Council tell us. So they know that at the end of the day, you got to bring some weight to the table. That's what I believe. Now, on the Western Hemisphere, over here, I believe that a lot of the narrative that has been given to us is all based upon distributed ledger technology. I don't think Satoshi Nakamoto was an authentic person. I think he's a government agent. Because what better way to disguise and
like 3 or 4? It wasn't even one agent. It was like 4 or 5. It's a group. Satoshi is a group.
I don't doubt it. So my thing is, I believe that technology was reintroduced once they solved the Byzantine fork issue, the double spin, all stuff like that. They issued Bitcoin. Bitcoin numero uno was Genesis. Very inferior technology, other than the hype and hope being put on it. Literally, that was designed to get us to this point to where it was a build out of all the other things. You got the Web3, you got the what else you got? You got NFTs and tokenization. When you got the DTCC creating their own private blockchain, so it's I didn't know that. So you got the DTCC have their own private blockchain. They partner with somebody, I can't think of the name, but it's a closed, it's not public blockchain where
I was gonna say, gotta be closed because
Cantor
Fitzgerald. Oh, okay.
I gotta check that, but it's a big player that created a chain just for DTCC to run on it.
I'm surprised that they went that way, Mike, because.
You think? Are you serious?
This is the reason. I mean, it's private, so I guess it doesn't really matter. No one can audit them.
It's not for II. It's for them.
It's them for right. But I was gonna say, like, they want ambiguity. Like the DTCC is already a shit show now. I think it's like for every stock share issue, there's like 4 out there. So they're rehypothecated everything.
Everything that we think we own, if there's a counterparty, they're in the middle of it. So it's going to run on their ledger. And so my whole point is, we haven't witnessed the introduction of nothing new. It's just been a capturing and a rebranding of the old into a tokenized, digitized world. And so you got JP Morgan coin, you got Larry Fink sitting on the board of World Economic Forum.
He's leaving. He's leaving the bank.
And so
BlackRock.
And BlackRock has the biggest Bitcoin ETF right now, compete with Michael Saylor, and so it's like all these players now. The big money has captured it to the point where now, it amazes me that the people think that this is going to end well for them. And so we're supposed to keep everything public and visible. They can do things behind the scenes with no consequences whatsoever. And the fact that the clarity has already been provided for the big boys. And so you got all the banks, they got their own chains, they can work on interoperability and all that stuff like that amongst themselves. And I love the people who talk about ISO 200222 coins, get you some Cardano, get you some this. I'm like, you think they're going to tell you their fans? Come on now.
No, come on, man. Come on.
I thought you were street smart, bro.
Gotta be street smart. Gotta be. Come on, people. See, that's why they don't like me, Mike, in the crypto world, because I keep it $100-50. Like if you come with me with some bull crap like that, I'm gonna tell you no, that's nonsense. Like it's not happening. I don't think they're going to. So let me ask you about Bitcoin, not versus, but Bitcoin compared to the precious metals. Where do you see Bitcoin in the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years? Will it do well along with the precious metals? Will it outperform the precious metals? Kind of give me your pros and cons on that.
Great. Okay, so when we talk about long-term viewpoint, you use the word perform. And so in my estimation, gold and silver doesn't perform because they are monetary constants that were here before us, they're going to be here after us. How we value them is based upon the spot price and the way that we measure them in fiat terms. So in the long run, gold and silver will definitely be utilized in use case, in savings, whatever. So it's going to be here. What it'll be worth in USD terms, I don't know. I just think the global measuring stick will no longer be USD. And so if we get to that world post 2030, the world won't be concerned with, how much does an ounce of gold cost in US dollar terms, because whatever the global benchmark will be at that time, whatever basket of currencies, whatever, one world currency, whatever you want to call it, it won't be a good indicator of what gold and silver will be of value to you at that moment, because it will definitely be something that will be circulated amongst a small group. And so the people will use it again in small forms, however it works out, whatever. But then on the digital side, I think that a part of this great reset that is still underway to me, there's nothing has changed. It's in full lock and step. And now with Larry Fink leading the charge, they're doing this for a reason. And I think cryptocurrency in general is all centered around the longevity and the health of Bitcoin. Bitcoin now, 16 years old, it will be utilized as a hyperinflationary escape hatch. If we go through QE, which is coming, once the new Fed chair is put in, he's gonna cut rates.
Oh man, his money printer on for bro. I can't believe. One thing you got to give Trump credit for. Mm-hmm. One thing you got to he holds no punches. He lets you know. He don't try to obfuscate and he lets you know his family's getting paid. Backdoor deals on everything he's doing. That you just know. He lets you know. He lets you know everything, bro. So I think it's gonna be an interesting time. We see in the next couple of years, bro, because he's gonna get paid, and if you play it right, you'll be able to get paid as well. I think
so. So watch this. So I do believe everyone will get paid, but the problem is we're basing the word paid upon something
dollar.
That is going through a restructuring. It's what comes after this version. So this is a Federal Reserve note. What comes next may not necessarily be centered around the Federal Reserve ledger. It may be a concerted effort between the Treasury, the Fed. Fed ain't going nowhere. They're not going to abolish. Fed is a tool for Trump. So he ain't going to abolish it. He's going to put people there. They're going to literally drain the remaining purchasing power out of that graph I showed you. That it's 2-3 cents left in the dollar. They're about to get the rest of that out of there. And if we go sub-zero to me is where a dollar is not worth much to anybody anymore. And if we go sub-zero, according to that graph I showed you, now you get it to the reset. The reset is just the rebooting of the system. Everything's going to be redone. It's going to be done in a digitalized form. That's why the banking system has been given clarity to be able to create their own stable coins. And so each bank will be able to tokenize and or launch the deposits of their depositors in that stable coin. It'll be on a ledger that can be more controlled, more so-called district or decentralized. But in actuality, as the banks I mentioned earlier began to disappear, you're gonna have smaller and bigger banks. So if, say, for example, I want to say prior to the GFC, there was, 1,000 banks, 1,000 big boys. After GFC, there's like 500, 300. After this next event, there's going to be even less.
Even less.
And
what year did Silver Bank go under? Silver
22.
22. We lost a lot of banks in 22.
Correct.
23.
So the concentration of power is still in the hands of the banks. The banks are too big to fail. The government will do anything to keep them alive. Jamie Dimon is numero uno banker. It's going to be 5, 6, 7 banks. They all going to have a stable coin. It takes just some activation on the back end to connect all those interoperability-wise.
Let me ask you this. Our buddy Peter Schiff, he's running around, boy. He's doing world tour. He's like, I told you it took 100 years, but I finally was right. He's starting a company, or has started a company called T-Gold. Are you familiar with that?
I saw his tweets, and it looks like he's going to take advantage of the tokenization side of gold.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, let me say, I used to be a very big critic. I used to criticize taking physical gold and tokenizing it, or physical precious metals and tokenizing. I used to be very critical of that. Now I'm not, because I see that might be the actual play for physical gold and silver to take. That may be the Bitcoin moment. This is crazy. That may be the Bitcoin moment for precious metals, where it hits the masses. So you got to think, Mike. Most people aren't going to carry around silver 1 troy ounce rounds, and it's not divisible. It's not what they call fungible, right? I can't go to the store and put 20 on one, go to the gas station, put 20 on one, and flick them a silver round. And what am I gonna get back? Like, he gonna give me fiat? No, I want my silver back. I don't want more fiat. I don't want fiat back as exchange. I want silver back. So I'm saying all that to say, if we do see a digital or tokenized infrastructure set up for silver and gold, that makes it easy for people to go 20 on 5 and then just pay $20 worth of silver at whatever price it is to the commerce, to the merchant, and then you're all good.
Yes, and
that would increase adoption.
It would increase adoption, but also it increases counterparty risk. Because
that's the thing. I agree with you, and that's where I was critical of that whole concept, is that counterparty risk. Now we got to trust somebody else who's issuing the digital gold. But at the end of the day, bro, the whole system is counterparty risk. We all are used to it, and we deal with it daily. It doesn't even really matter. As long as I can go to that T gold, T silver, or whatever place and get, if I do want fiat, as long as I can get that back for fiat at the spot price, then I'm good. Right. I see it working, bro. I really do see it working.
So I don't doubt that initially. So two things. Initially, the idea and the concept is already in operation now, and so I have like people I work with that actually offer spendable ways for you to spend your silver and gold via debit card, MasterCard, whatever. So that stuff, that's a form of tokenized. Like they hold on to it. You swipe, you spend. That's going now. You got to also think about this. I don't have confidence in our government. I don't think our government is operating in our best interest. So I don't think our government is going to establish clarity that would allow their populace to reap the benefits of this wealth transfer fully. So it's going to be the taxation of side of things and everything else, to where it's going to put it at a very unfavorable way for the holders of it, because government is in business for more control, not less, and it's not for the people's best interest. So that's why I don't think the government would allow that to become a legalized, because it wouldn't be legal tender unless the government gives us decree that we can pay taxes in and stuff like that. And
But they did it with Bitcoin.
But okay,
They allow us to spend Bitcoin anywhere in the states.
And that is a part of my thesis of it's intentional, because the goal, as I mentioned, that MAGA wealth effect, the goal is to steer people towards Bitcoin. Bitcoin benefits the government more than it benefits you and I. And I say that because
Really,
Bitcoin,
I've never heard this angle. Let me hear this.
So this is what I believe, and this is my thesis on how Bitcoin has a shorter lifespan than what people would even be willing to admit. Because Bitcoin, the way that we were introduced to it, it was a D-Bank, B-owned bank, it was all these things, and then the block wars flipped the script to where now Bitcoin nobody uses Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just a ledger. It's the VCs that's built on top of it, products and services. And so those products and services is what we call Bitcoin, where you can swipe, Lightning Network. That's a counterparty risk mechanism. So people don't even use Bitcoin. You can't use it. It's too small. It's whatever. That's why they got alternatives and all the other crap, whatever. But as far as Bitcoin itself, the clarity that's being given I believe it's designed to distract the masses and give the illusion of prosperity, because we have an administration that is pro-Bitcoin, but then also whenever he said Bitcoin, he said cryptos, and then he also mentioned stablecoin first and all his little talks. So he's just reading off prompters. He's just doing what he's told. And so Bitcoin itself, it can be, they're trying to pass something to where you can pay your taxes with it. But once again, that's not legal tender status. Like, in order to change legal tender status, you got to change the USC code, United States Commerce Code. And that hasn't been changed yet. So there is no real legal framework for digital assets to be used. So it's still US gold, US silver, and Federal Reserve notes and liabilities. So until they change that, if they ever change it, or you can probably do an executive order, and it's not official, but it'll be something that can work temporarily.
Yeah.
It's something that they want people to use because they're trying to steer people into it. Look no further than the executive order to allow 401ks to then get involved and get crypto exposure along with other assets.
Private equity.
More importantly, the idea of the hedge funds being able to offload a lot of their non-performing loans and non-performing assets as investment vehicles for the sheeple, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the PE, that's the private equity side of things that they're trying to open up too. They allow normal people to invest in private equity, which I knew that was the top. I knew when that happened that this the top. No way that the private equity game been the white rich Wall Street man game forever. Forever. Going back to Bain Capital and like all the it's. And when I saw that, bro, I said, "Oh, they're looking, scrambling for liquidity because they've run out of liquidity."
The hedge funds want liquidity, and the government want people to, that was it, 30, 40 trillion of 401k and retirement pension fund money. They want to transfer that into the crypto space, and in particular, Bitcoin and the numero uno, the top boys that your financial advisor would say you can get, so it started off with 1% exposure, 4%, 5%. Now you got people saying, oh, if you got 25% in your account, you ain't whatever. So once they get all this excess liquidity that's parked in these legendary legacy funds into crypto, that right there to me is a world of they literally have captured everything that they were trying to avoid having to pay out on. So pensions, 401ks, whatever, if it goes this direction, it's now controlled and captured by the people that they put in charge, which will be the banks. The banks will be the custodians, and Coinbase works for the government now. So they hold everybody. So you put it all in this nice little sphere here, all those trillions of people's funds. Wouldn't it be a coincidence if there was a oops moment, some type of oops moment where glitch, cybersecurity, quantum, or something that causes this digital illusion to just go poof, or to be
it's going to be quantum. That's the end of Bitcoin. I've been preaching it for years, Mike. Some of my long-term supporters and followers know that I've been, since actually 2017-18, I've been concerned about quantum supremacy, and it's starting to accelerate. I think that's the death of Bitcoin.
Now,
I think that's the death of Bitcoin.
When the win is a lot different than what it will actually end up being.
Right. So for a prediction to be a prediction, you have to have a time frame. So my prediction is that we're already seeing it. Actually, it was an article I posted in my Telegram room where I was like a whole bunch of wallets got drained. It was on the EVM. It was on Ethereum Virtual Machine Network, on Ethereum's network, but a whole bunch of random wallets just start getting drained. They just start taking money out of these random wallets. And that's what that's what quantum supremacy looks like. It's not a one day like event horizon type of thing where the day before it was this way and then tomorrow was this way. It's going to be a trickle effect. You're going to see more and more wallets being just snatched, all the funds drained from them. So I think that's what's going to start to accelerate. And Bitcoin, I give Bitcoin another like 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
My time frame is a lot sooner.
Oh, wait a minute.
Now,
a lot sooner.
A lot sooner. Because think
So
about
there's no debate, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin versus silver. If Bitcoin's out of here in a year, the winner is silver, ladies and gentlemen.
So I said, from a realistic standpoint, if I believe that a lot of the deception and the disillusionment of how you can preserve wealth is being steered towards digital, something's going to happen. We can agree on that at some point. Because my primary argument is that you got two reasons why Bitcoin and crypto, for the average person as a wealth transfer, long-term escape mechanism is not possible, is because one, anything created by man is always 101% of the time corrupted. It is not possible for mankind to have their hands on something and it not to be co-opted, corrupted, or contaminated. Give me one thing. Think about that, and I'll come back. Second one is greed. Mankind cannot resist the idea of wanting to be controlled and control everything. And the people we talked about earlier, the people in power, they cannot, and they will not stand by and let people hold digital assets on a ledger or on a wallet in their house and get wealthy and they not find a way to get it out of you. So if those two things are true, it's a matter of how. Now, the how comes into the quantum side. The quantum tech that we are aware of, mind you, whenever we're told something, it's already old. Now, right now, as far as the quantum, the amount of bytes and bits or whatever, it's minimal. But do you think they're going to actually tell you the progress they're making in a timely manner that will force people to have to now start thinking, unloading, and selling off some things and trying to increase their bank codes, passwords, because it's everything SHA-256. But SHA-256 is already outdated because the NSA and all governments use SHA-512. So
SHA-512, bro, like again, putting on the silver, the silver hat, the tinfoil hat, bro. CIA has technology that will blow our minds. I mean, we're talking about stuff like, I don't know if you know about Project Looking Glass.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Where they allegedly NASA and or the CIA are able to look into the future. So if they can look into the future, they already got all the technology to break all modern day encryption, in my opinion, or very close to it. So it's only a matter of time. And to my guy's point here, he asked a question. I'm gonna answer this. Shakizi says, yeah, but quantum will also be the death of credit cards, bank accounts, and most cryptographically secure systems. No, the difference between credit cards, bank accounts, etc., is that you can upgrade those systems and the funds in those accounts can stay secured. You can't upgrade a blockchain or a wallet that has already been created 10 years ago, right? That wallet literally
without major overhauls. Like,
you got to have a whole
you got to go.
Everyone has to. You have to get like over 51% of the network to upgrade their nodes, and then it's just so much. And then the wallets that didn't upgrade, they lose their funds. So any old wallets, if they didn't fork and do the update, they lose. So it's like it would take so much to try to coordinate, and we couldn't even get them to agree on, block sizes. And you think you're going to get them to upgrade and figure out which? No, it's not going to happen.
Watch this. Who's going to lead consensus? Michael Saylor?
Yeah.
Larry Fink?
Yeah, yeah.
Once the U.S. watch this.
Yeah, he will. He'll be the one.
He's going to be a part of the table.
It's been so compromised. He'll be the one. They'll pick him.
It's going to be a table of people, and they won't be doing this in your best interest. And think about this. Right now, I follow very closely the version 30 update between the development core team and the Bitcoin Knight. And it's a civil war brewing already, to where right now they're talking about, running your nodes. Running your own nodes allows you to validate on your side, but it doesn't give you a true stake towards the longevity of the chain. And the development core has already been captured. They've proven
years ago.
They've proven that with the fact that they just pushed something out there that nobody wanted, or majority of people who are unaware didn't want. And so now you got to resist it. So as of now, it's 22% running the Bitcoin Notch node, and you got 8% running the core. That 22 is going to increase. And therefore, that's going to cause division, which threatens the security of the network in the long run, because they won't be able to eventually, the core won't be able to fully push what they want to push next. And so the question is, what they want to push next? What they're pushing next is VC interest and Wall Street interest, because the future updates going to include things that the average person will not want. And it's going to have more to do with their ability to track and surveil you, in my opinion. I'm putting it out there first. You know what I'm saying? Like, future updates will be detrimental to the average holder's financial future.
Let me show this. I literally, you brought up the upgrade, and I put this tweet out as a response to Matthew Crater. Why did Adam push Bitcoin Core 30 so hard, but is now oddly silent about major bug in it that deletes your Bitcoin Core wallets when you try to migrate? Dun dun dun. So they've got a lot of issues, man. And yeah, I'm pretty much kind of giving up on Bitcoin being the solution, because I've seen it being ring fenced and compromised by Wall Street. And the mascot of that conversation is our buddy Michael Saylor. Like, he is the mascot. Like, he is the epitome of when Wall Street takes over.
100%. And so my point is, all this hope and hype that we're hearing has a lifespan to it. The lifespan, I believe, and as I mentioned before, I think Bitcoin's primary purpose is to be a hyperinflationary escape hatch, meaning all the liquidity is coming. The QE Fed going to run a balance sheet from now. It's like 7, 8. It's going to run it up to 20, 25, 30, because there's no ceiling on how high it goes. It's denominated in currency that nobody may not want at the time.
Right.
But if you can find a way to siphon all the new liquidity that would normally be wanted by foreigners, if you can redirect it into a singular funnel, i.e. Bitcoin, the Bitcoiners themselves will then take those proceeds and buy up things in real world, houses, land. They're gonna chop out. They're gonna shop around. Then you're gonna have an altcoin run like never before, because speculation. Who wouldn't want to go buy a penny coin, pump it? So that entire sector will buy time for the government to pull off this heist that I'm referring to, and all those check marks of reset like things to take place, given the illusion of prosperity for our nation. Just like Trump loved to say, your 401ks, the stock market is up, your 401ks, this is that, whatever. He's gonna be able to say, look at your crypto wallets, everybody's a millionaire, everybody's something, while all along the Eastern Hemisphere, gold and silver prices at numbers that we can't imagine. And because of all that, we're gonna have a MAGA wealth effect of crypto-led industry here, tech, whatever, gold and silver over there. And then in the midst of all that, it's going to be the battle of, like, what's the next standard? And once again, I don't think the world has Bitcoin FOMO the way that they have presented to us as. Like El Salvador, and we got countries in Africa now adopting Bitcoin. So, come on now, they're being pressured into doing it, I believe, by the West, because clearly, who wouldn't want to hold gold and silver, because it's a tier 1 now, and you're going to need tangible wealth in a world of digital illusion. So I think, it's going to be something that will be exposed. And once everybody is in that space, excited about it, they banking their futures on it. Michael Saylor could talk about 100 years from now, I'm going to leave it to my kids. I'm going to, after 2030, if all the stuff I talked about earlier comes true, as far as a great reset led by now Larry Fink, which is the public-private partnerships, big tech working with governments to do the technical things, CBDC, digital ID, surveillance everywhere, smart city, you name it. You got the UN Agenda 2030, where government gives the rights to the technocratic takeover legally, for legal framework. That means that we can't contest that because us being citizens, we're supposed to go along with our government. That's going to be another issue. Then you got the whole Abraham Accords factor in with the Islamic takeover of the country and the world. If all this is done by 2030, the way that they have stated it should be done, then do you think people will be able to live happily ever after 2031, 2032 in a world where those things come to fruition? I don't think so. And what better way to literally finalize all that illusion of wealth by some type of event occurring where we have exponential AI and robotics, innovation to where they're able to do quantum.
We didn't weave in the AI aspect and people not having jobs and who keeps the social contract together, or how that social contract is kept together. We haven't even talked about that. That plays a big role in what happens as well. So we're gonna definitely have to get back together, man, and talk some more gold, silver, Bitcoin, and AI and stuff. Chikizi says, interesting perspective, great discussion between CB and RTD for sure. We appreciate all of you guys. I don't want to keep Mike too long. Very, very good conversation, Mike. I really appreciate you coming on. We have to do this some more, man. Make sure you guys follow Mike on X at Rethinking the Dollar without a G. Rethinking. Let me just zoom in and maybe I can show you guys. Rethinking Dollar on X, and Rethinking. Is it RTDtv on YouTube? Is
Correct.
That what it is?
RTDtv, just an abbreviated version of Rethinking the Dollar, and then or just type in Rethinking the Dollar in the search engine. I'm on every platform, so wherever your favorite platform is at, you can find me.
Good, man. Good. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
Any last comments on the state of? Actually, I have a question for you. Last question for you is where do you do predictions? I mean, it's for entertainment, but do you see like what do you see us at the end of 2026 with Bitcoin, silver, gold? Those three kind of give me.
If I was to give a USD price, my automatic assumption would be double to triple to what they are now, just based upon metals momentum and everything else. And then knowing that QE is coming, new Fed chair, very accommodative, overly accommodative. Knowing that this administration wants to use digital assets as a measuring tool of prosperity for our country, I can see Bitcoin definitely closer to 200,000, if not somewhere around there, just because once everything is in full control and they given the Clarity Act, once that comes, that's going to definitely allow FOMO of not want to miss out, driving prices up. So let's just say 200,000 Bitcoin on the low end, and then gold and silver. I don't know. I'll say gold. Let's just say gold 6,000. I'll say gold. I could say something stupid. I'll just say gold 8,000, silver $300. Like was it what Bank of America said? That's one of the Bank of America analysts said $300 or something like that.
Okay.
So just keep it at that.
So I would say, ironically enough, you're a little bit more bullish on the price of Bitcoin than Crypto Blood. I don't know what's going on lately. What the hell? What is my new name is gonna be Boolean Blood in a minute. I guess I'm just gonna be. I give Bitcoin about $150, $160 by the end of the year. But with all the QE that's coming. Supposedly.
Yeah,
the reason why is because I think we still got to see that big correction. So I think MicroStrategy or strategy is going to ruin the price of Bitcoin between now and the end of the year, but the bounce back is going to be significant. So I think we could see a drawdown another 50 to 60% in Bitcoin, and then from those lows rally to 150 at least pass all-time highs a little bit. That's where I see with Bitcoin.
Right. I do see severe. We're going to have a severe global event, primarily centered around the debt or just the overall, something breaking. There's all types of things that can break in the banking structure, which it's going to be short-lived though. It's going to be so short-lived to where, like the surge out of that will be something that we've never witnessed with our eyes, mimicking. Was it March the 14 days of solar spread? In March, everything drops. The oil went negative, but then the bounce up was like woo, and that was a week or two type of bounce. What we're gonna see next, it might be 3 or 4 days, because this administration can't have that on its resume. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna come out with 3 or 4 different packages. The Save America Act, Recover America Act, 6 trillion, 7 trillion, 8 trillion, 9 trillion. The market's gonna go shoo.
Trump gonna look like Oprah, man. You get a loan, you get a loan, you get a bailout, you get an act, you get an act. Yeah, I feel you, bro. So I think gold by the end of 2026 should be around. I'm feeling your number, 6,000 ish. I'm feeling that. I think that's about right too. Silver, on the other hand, I think is near 5. Yeah, I'm thinking 5, 600, 5, 4, 5, 600, somewhere around there.
Baby, that's a lot higher than I would say. But hey, I ain't mad, because that's just within this year. I'm just thinking about year. As we get through to next year and years beyond that, because of what gold and silver represent to humanity. I'm talking about humanity in reference to the periodic table. We're just talking about gold and silver. Platinum, palladium, rhodium, idiom, idiom, yamamium, all of idioms and idioms. They going through the roof because they're in the earth. We need that. And so we're pricing in dollar terms. So there's no ceiling to how high they can go. So 300 would be nice. But then again, that's the thing. That still don't mean you got to get rid of it, because I look at silver in particular as liquidity for the average Joe and Jane after the reset. Because you're gonna need something tangible. You're not going to want to use a CBDC or stablecoin, whatever they're gonna have the primary medium. So you're gonna want something to rebuild yourself with. It's gonna be tangible for sure. It should be tangible, but that's just me.
There you go, Mike. Rethinking the Dollar. Appreciate you. Go follow him. We'll do this again, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, share. If you're watching this on my channel for the first time, subscribe to the channel. We'll greatly appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up, click the bell, all that good stuff. We out of here, people. Holla.
Yo, it's crypto blood, Detroit flow, screaming from the D, knowing what to show. Indicators are wrong point, OG since 12, invested in trade, living life like a pro. I'm Rucker, Jerry, it's just blood too. Bad motherfucker, but in a good way, boo. Got my eyes on the charts, ain't no time to sleep. Kick that money, gotta keep it creep. That's my crypto blood, just the toasters on the line. Stacking my coin, got the market on my mind. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum too. Cash is king, but I'm looking for a new move. I know the culture of the markets like the streets. Got my finger on the pulse, can't nobody beat. I see the trends, I see the flow. Got my strategies in place.
Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Okay. Ready? Fucking thing sucks.